Welcome to the Unstoppable Pursuit podcast, where we're pushing limits in business, life, and health. And today, it's episode 24.
Kobe Bryant, baby.
Ow!
R.I.P. to his career, but forever in our hearts.
That's for sure, the Black Mamba, baby. All right, today we're talking about the hero's journey. My name's Brian Benson, and next to me, well, he takes more selfies than Jen Selter and Justin Bieber combined, Mike Stull.
Cheers, y'all.
He wrote a book called Dominate Your Day, and of course, ladies and gentlemen, just seriously listen to me for just 2 seconds here. Check out michaelstull.com and buy this book. It is the start of the new year. It is a great book. It's 365 devotionals, motivation, inspiration, health. I am telling you, he is an incredible author. Get the book, michaelstull.com. Check it out. All right, dive into it, brother.
All right, I'm going to read the January cover page. A dream, a goal, a vision, an idea. They all have something in common. In order for them to come to fruition, they have to be passionately pursued. Without the relentless pursuit, they are just talk. You can talk all you want about this and that, but what are you really doing about it? What are you doing on a daily basis is going to bring them to life. If you keep waiting around for the perfect opportunity, life is going to pass you by. You need to literally will your goals into reality and create your own luck in 2017. The circle of wellness is not complete without all three pillars standing strong: mind, body, spirit. Individuals get too caught up in the game of trying to physically look good and forget about feeling good. Wellness starts on the inside. The outside will always follow.
Oh, baby, it's all about the outside, or the inside. All right, don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we are not plagiarizing. So this comes from the book, What Motivates Me? Put Your Passions to Work, by Adrian Gostick and Chester Elton. David Copperfield. No, I'm just kidding. Embarking on a hero's journey. That's what Mike and I are doing. And for 2017, we want you to embark on your hero's journey, ladies and gentlemen. This is so important. This is great stuff. And we're going to go through each one. We're going to talk a little bit about it. I think it's so important. But this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ways to embark on the hero's journey. And number 1 is the need for change. Dissatisfaction has come to override whatever pleasure and engagement that they had in their work. They know they're not doing their best anymore, which contributes to their unhappiness. And they are becoming increasingly frustrated, which may manifest in emotional turmoil and frustration with others around them. The need for change.
I think the key word here is dissatisfaction, because in this particular episode, Brian and I were really talking from a personal standpoint, and we're being very transparent about our journey. So when we're reading this stuff, I mean, this is like the things that we've been living and partaking on ourselves. So I think of dissatisfaction. When I realized that there was a need for change, it was because I was so unhappy and I was so dissatisfied with what I was doing. I felt like I was a zombie. I felt like I was going through the motions. I was doing the same thing every day. I wasn't impacting people. I mean, the list goes on, but the common denominator, I think, for all people that are wanting a change in their life is they're completely dissatisfied with where they're at.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that they're not thankful for what they have. It just means that they don't feel like they're making an impact.
100%. That happened to me. I remember when I quit my job, I said, Dad, I don't want to do I don't want to do this anymore.
That's funny.
But it's actually true. I could have stayed in my family business. I could have continued. I was making good money. I was doing all the right things, but I was not 100% satisfied. I was not feeling like I was making the impact, and it was making me unhappy. Even though I was making good money and doing decent, it just was an unhappy feeling getting up every day and going to work. It just didn't feel, I was miserable. I didn't want to get out of bed every day, and I think that is what will help, lift that change within people. Is like, make sure that you're getting out of bed every day super happy. And if you're not, probably need for a change.
Right. It's all about fulfillment. So if you're dissatisfied, then there's definitely a need for change. All right, number 2, the call. Most can tell us the exact moment they decided they had to make a career change. They then began to ask important clarifying questions such as, what do I love to do? Or what do I have to offer? From there, they began to form a clear picture of who they are, where they want to go, and how they will actually get there.
You know, Mike, and you and I have talked about this a lot, but this, for me personally came down to like some very personal meditation. Like there was a time like after when I quit and knew I needed to change, I was like, well, what do I even have to offer the world? Like, what do I even stand for? Like, what are my values? Like, what am I even good at? What are people going to care about? Like, you know, what do I even love to do? You know, even though I knew I always knew like I loved to help people, I just didn't even know like the path that was going to help people in. So it took a lot of time and a lot of meditation, a lot of being alone and listening to music and doing all those things that I needed to do till that feeling really like bubbled up within me, and then kind of some clarity started coming. You know, I was putting a lot of stuff out into the universe, and then I was meeting with people, talking with people, and then things started to happen for me.
Right. I think when I read this and I see the exact moment, I think like I did like a 3.5-year career with that corporate job.
Yeah.
And I'd say about halfway through is when I kind of realized, and it says in that exact moment, I think I went home after a long day and I was in my backyard. I used to have a house on the lake. The sun was going down. I was kind of just sitting there praying. I was sitting on like the bank, kind of going down by the water before I actually went to the gym. And I was just thinking to myself, like, you know, I started asking myself, what is it I truly want to do? Like, what would make me happy? Because clearly I'm not happy doing what I'm doing right now. But I can remember that because the sun was going down. It was very peaceful. So I think that kind of sheds light on the importance of, you talk about meditation all the time. I mean, I'm constantly praying, you know, whether I'm driving in my truck or in the morning or at night or whenever. And I think that's very important for people to do, to really find out, to kind of be in tune with themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think to find that exact moment, or when the call comes, like, and I always say this, like your woo moment, like your window of opportunity, like don't miss it.
Awesome.
Like put your like don't miss that woo time in your life where it's like there's a window of opportunity here, and you found it and so did I, like where it was like it's time to do that, like it's time to make that next step.
Right.
So, all right, the next one is the leap. The journey truly begins when they cross the threshold and accept that things are going to get uncomfortable. They agree to move from the unknown to an unknown world.
Become comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I have written down in my side notes here for the leap, I have house, job, car. I remember taking my leap. And my leap, and this isn't the same for everyone else, but my personal leap was, I had a big mortgage, so I sold my house, I sold all my furniture, I traded in my truck, and I quit my job. I had no health insurance. Like I truly, and I prayed about it, and I felt like at the time I had a very clear answer of what I needed to do, but I knew that I needed to do all that to free up and get as much money as possible, because I was going from a very known world. I was comfortable at this job. It was set in stone. Everything was good to go, but I was traveling into an unknown world, and I wanted to have as much money as possible going into that. I'm not saying everyone needs to do what I did, but in order to free up myself, I needed to get rid of all that stuff and take that leap of faith.
Yeah, and I think, Mike, you know, what you were able to do, and I think myself too, but just listening to you, it's like how many people don't take the leap because they are afraid of the unknown.
Right.
And you prepared for the unknown, but maybe some people don't, and that's why they maybe don't take that leap. But what I can just share is like the unknown, if it's unknown and it's scary and it's uncomfortable, there's a very high percentage chance that that's what you need to be doing in your life. That is the call right there. That is like, if it feels uncomfortable, like Mike said, like, you know, be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Like, everyone's always seen those memes and those little like things out there, like the comfort zone, like where the magic happens, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that is so true. Like your comfort zone is so small, but if you can just get outside of that and enjoy that, then you can then it will be a huge change in your life, and the leap won't feel that bad once you're there. Trust me. And we always talk about the fear, like you're not going to die. You know,
and I think people are afraid to take the leap because they're holding on to things. Like I could have easily been so attached to all my nice furniture. Like I went and bought like really nice, like all white leather and the Tootsie furniture. I wanted like the Miami Vice look on the inside of my house. I had to push all these things that I worked so hard for. I had my dream truck. You know, there was only like 100 of them made in the world, and I had number 43 was on the engine. Like, to take that leap, like I literally needed to take these things that like I was I thought I was attached to, but oddly enough, when I pushed them out the door, I could have cared less.
Yeah.
Because going back to the first one, I was so dissatisfied with where I was at, like I was willing to take that leap and push all that stuff out the door.
It's and it's like, have you ever been in one of those like relationships like where it's just you feel very comfortable, so you don't like dump the person, but you know you're not like
I think
super
we've all
happy.
been there.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what it's like. You gain these attachments to things, and it becomes very comfortable, and then you can't move on. But what you are able to do is just like put those things in a box really, and just say, look, I can come back to you. Like, this is material things. Like, I'll find another relationship.
Exactly.
Like, and that's what I think a lot of people are afraid to do. Just box their stuff up and ship it out, and realize that it's like, okay, time to move forward. Like, don't live looking in the rear view mirror.
If you let it go and it comes back, then it's yours. If you let it go and it doesn't come back, it probably wasn't ever yours.
I like that.
That's that saying.
I like that.
Okay, what are we on? Number 4, the mentors. Pretty soon they realize they can't do this alone, and they reach out to wise helpers as they try to find new roles that are more motivating or significantly resculpt their current roles through a series of meetings with mentors or managers.
Man, I love this one.
This is a good one for you.
Oh, man, I have
this one fits you.
Done nothing without mentors in my life. Like, literally, if I did not have mentors in my life, I don't think I could have gotten to where I am today. And I don't think that many people would if and I know that, and you've read it, if Richard Branson, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, if these guys did not have mentors or managers or people in their lives to help guide them or talk to them, I think it would have been very difficult. And I can tell you, if I didn't have, who is one of my biggest mentors, my dad, if I didn't have another mentor of mine, John Adams, some other really great people in my life, it would be very difficult. The other thing I want to say about the mentoring process is I also have mentors from afar. I have Walt Disney's a mentor of mine because I love his vision. Right. I love his storytelling. I love the way he presented things and actually connected with human emotion. There's other people out there that I look at, I'm like, wow, they're really innovative and great. They're not exactly in my life, but I see them, Exactly. But, to me, I think really, as we're going through this, the change, the call, the leap, like that, this is such a pivotal piece because you realize that you can't do it on your own. And that's not a bad thing. I'm never saying that, but it is very difficult to do it on your own.
I agree with you. I have written down 4 names. I have your name, Brian Benson. I have George Oberdorser. I have Andy Frisella, the owner of Supplement Superstores and First Form, and I have Gary Vaynerchuk. I think these 4 people that I have written down have been very influential and inspirational to me to keep going, to try to go outside the box, take leaps of faith. Like, each one of you are very strong in certain areas, and I'm inspired by that, and I think that they probably were inspired by people too. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And to see these lists of people doing their thing and working hard, that inspires me. Like you said, it's not you. I used to almost think I was a one-man wrecking crew because I was so motivated, but then I realized no, because there's people that I go to their Facebook page, their Instagram page every single day, and I look at their shit.
Yeah.
Because I know that they're crushing it, and that inspires me to crush it. So I do consider them mentors, whether Gary or Andy, knows that. I mean, you and George know it. You know what I mean?
Thank you, buddy. That means a lot to me. Well, you motivate me, and I didn't know you were going to say that, so I'm a little bit touched right now. I told you I get emotional during this episode. Too much estrogen. That's what Mike said. That's what Mike said.
Here we go. No, Brian's going to talk about making love to your soldiers back in the Roman days. If you haven't heard that and you want to know that story, go back to one of our previous podcasts. I don't know where the hell he was going with that one, but
I don't know if it made sense, but hey, we got in the foxhole together. That's all I know. But you inspire me too, bro. Definitely. Your hard work definitely makes me always want to work harder. All right, let's move on to the tests, and I think this is a really, really good one here. Inevitably, there will come roadblocks, challenges, and temptations to lure them to return to their old ways. Outside forces and internal doubts will conspire to bring them down, but the dedicated make it through these tests these tests make it through these tests stronger. I can't read. As Campbell writes, the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek.
Internal doubts. That's what I underlined on this one. Like, you know, I would be lying if I said that I had no doubts along this journey. You know, like my journey on my own has been probably about 2.5 years since quitting that corporate job. And I can't tell you how many times I have probably doubted myself over those 2.5 years. I probably couldn't even count. You know, like some of that doubt I may have allowed come from outside sources. I know a lot of that doubt has come from inside my own head. Andy Frisella, you know, he's always posting about how, like, you know, you can't let your inner voice be like your biggest enemy. And I'm guilty of that at times. You know, I've doubted myself. I think you're only human, so I think naturally you are going to doubt yourself. But I don't want to be doing this podcast and tell these people, oh no, we're entrepreneurs, we're crushing it, I'm 100% confident. No, dude, like, I probably doubt myself every single day.
Yeah.
You know, naturally, because like things get scary, it gets tough. And honestly, I mean, I don't think one thing in these 2.5 years that I've been on my own, I mean, this has been a long journey, probably 7 or 8 years in the making, but officially on my own about 2.5, I've been scared, man, you know, and I can honestly say probably not one thing has worked out 100% the way I intended it to. Mm-hmm. So.
No, you know, Mike, it's so true. Like, I feel like some days I feel like I wake up and I'm so terrified. I'm like, and then I'm so wanting to go back to return to my old ways. I'm so wanting to be like, knock on my dad's door and be like, take me back, please, Daddy. Like,
Dad, I need to come back to the cave.
Dad, I need a job. I need to come back to the cave. But no, it's true. I get really, really scared. Like, and I'm not afraid to say it. Like, and I've talked to other entrepreneurs besides you and tons of others that have always said, like, I was talking to one the other day and I was like, what happens if this doesn't work? Like, he's like, dude, this is the point when I was in my business, like, where I just started praying, like, a lot. He's like, all I did was pray. He's like, all I kept thinking is like, if this doesn't work, I have 3 kids. I have to support my family.
Like, you're believing in the unknown that you cannot see.
Yeah, and it's, exactly. And that's why it says, you know, the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. And the cave is dark as all hell, but you have no idea if there's a light at the end of that thing.
There's like 500 million in gold sitting in there, but it's really dark. Yeah, and there's spiders and snakes.
Yeah, and bats and stuff.
And bats,
man.
and I don't mess around with that stuff.
No, I don't like that stuff. But it's true, Mike. I mean, and Mike and I are 100% vulnerable and open on this podcast, and that's what we're all about. We aren't going to sit here and say that we're crushing it, because at the end of the day, we're not. We're working to crush it, and we're just saying join us in this unstoppable pursuit to crush it. You know, we're practical. We're not crazy, like, out of it. Like, we want to do this just as bad as everybody else. We're just hoping to show you along the journey, like, what it actually is like.
Yeah, we're essentially documenting our journey right now. Like, we aren't crushing it right now. We hope to someday crush it. Yeah. But right now, we're being transparent. This is like an online live journal that we're keeping, that hopefully is shedding some light on the people that are listening and watching, so that they can relate to it and feel comfort, and that you're not alone on this journey.
Dude, you know? You're not alone.
All right, number 6. This is me, correct?
Yes, sir.
The lessons. They not only learn lessons along the way, but also find themselves involved in a process of development and growth. This can be a relatively long stretch of research and re-education as they learn how to best use their motivations to bring the greatest satisfaction and purpose to their work lives.
You know, this is something that it took me a while to get. It took me a while. I feel like I was one of those, like, insanity people, like, doing the same thing over and over until, you know, like, until you realize, because I wasn't learning from some of the experiences that I had in the past. And I don't know if it was like an arrogance or something, where it's like, no, I know what I'm doing. Like, don't tell me what to do. I know how I
think it was you maturing.
Yeah, probably
and me too.
Was.
I don't think either of us were ignorant to that. I don't think we were like completely in denial. I think it was part of the growth. I think it was part of us developing as young adults.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, not to interrupt you,
No,
but I'm just
no.
saying that, like, I don't think that you're arrogant to the fact that, you know, some things didn't work out and you didn't learn from them. I just think it was part of your growth process and maturing along the way. Same for me, too.
You know, and here's the thing, Mike. My entire life, this is getting really deep, but my entire life, like, I was a freaking great soccer player, dude. Like, I was the best. It was like you in basketball. Like, we were really good. Like, we were great at what we did. People praised us. People thought we were awesome. Like, people thought we were, like, popular.
We got recruited, like, I got recruited very intensely to Heidelberg.
Yeah.
And I know you probably had that for soccer, too.
Yeah. Like, I talked to D1 schools when I was getting recruited. And my SATs and ACTs sucked, so I couldn't get in. But that's another topic for another day. I'm not a school guy.
Street smart, not book smart.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? Like, for so long, that was what I was so good at, and I knew what to do. So when I got into the business world, it was hard for me to, like, learn new things and, like, grow a little bit. You had to re-educate yourself, like what it says. Yeah, and that's been like all 2016 was like this like learning curve of like I had to learn how to build websites. I had to learn how to do a podcast. I had to learn how this microphones worked, how this camera worked, how all this stuff worked. I had no clue, and it was like frustrating. And it gets so darn frustrating sometimes because it's like, wait, soccer was so easy to me. Like, all I just had to do was practice really hard, and then I was good. Like, I couldn't figure out how to, like, almost practice, like, as an entrepreneur and a business owner.
Dude, you hit the nail on the head with that. That's exactly what I was going to say. And I don't want it to sound arrogant or conceited or anything, but I had this conversation with Lindsay 2 days ago where, like, I said literally, like, I don't think I hate to say it, but I don't think I've failed very much in my past. Like, I literally, like you said, dude, I went out and would shoot 500 jump shots a day. I crushed it in basketball because I put in the effort, and it carried over into a very successful basketball career. And then I was an A+ student because I studied very hard and I took school very seriously. Like, I crushed it. And then I get into entrepreneurship, and I'm putting in all this effort, and I'm not crushing it, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, I'm like, dude, I'm not used to this. Like, then, like, it starts to humble you, and that's why I'm saying I don't think we were arrogant. We had to take a step back, humble ourselves, and say, dude, I'm not the greatest at everything. Apparently, I don't know anything about entrepreneurship, and I need to re-educate myself and teach myself and learn from different things. Yeah, I think we use basketball and soccer and doing very well in other aspects of our life to better ourselves in this. Like, people would say, oh, what did basketball teach you? It taught me a lot. It taught me to bust my ass. It taught me discipline. It taught me teamwork. I mean, I could name a million things, but so those weren't things that were there for nothing, but entrepreneurship is a whole new game. Yeah. As we both know. So I think you hit the nail on the head with that one.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and the one thing I always remember, and this was like, I was pledging the fraternity, but it was just sort of a funny thing, and I'll just say this because I think it so much applies to entrepreneurship. It's like, I remember we were going through, and one day we came back, and one of my buddies, he goes, you know, they can break me physically, but they will never ever break me mentally. And I was like, damn, that was awesome. But I thought to myself, the physical part, there is no physical entrepreneurship. That's what I think is so tough about this, though, is because soccer, basketball, we could just physically get physical.
Exactly.
But now we got a mental toughness.
The mental muscle.
Holy crap, it is so much harder than building this. Yep. Isn't it?
That's like, so true.
The mental toughness is like, how do we even do this? It's anyway, so.
Like, physically, I could grind out 24 hours of entrepreneurship without a blink of an eye. Could I survive that mentally? I don't know. Because the mental thing is a whole new ball game. Like, it is, being mentally strong. Like, I've always been good at the physical, man. Yeah. Like, I'll go in, I'll crush it in the weight room.
You're a beast.
Yeah. I'll crush it in the weight room. Like, I feel like, you know, I could run long distances. Like, I feel like I can physically push my body. But then, like, you know, mentally, it's like, you know, the tests, the inner doubts start happening. Like, are you mentally capable of adapting, re-educating, learning from failures, and, like, executing?
Yeah.
You know? That one was a big one, man. The test.
I know, because I think the tests and the lessons have been like, oh my God. So, all right, on to the transformation. So this is the more happier part of the whole thing. One day, our heroes realize they are actually doing something that feels new and different, but comfortable. They have successfully blended their motivators and identities and found a role that engages them and gives them greater satisfaction.
Now, for this one, I wrote down our podcast.
Yes.
Because our podcast was inspired by basically everything that we were feeling up until that point in time, where we were like, we want to impact people, we want to help people, we want to educate, inspire, motivate, we want people to feel better about themselves, we want to make some money. You know what I mean? So all those things combined has really developed into, in what it says in here, something that feels new and different but comfortable. I feel comfortable doing this podcast, but this is me, you know, personally, I'm speaking on my behalf, stepping out of, you know, my comfort zone and doing something very different that I've never done before. I've never done a podcast before. And we joke around about this all the time, but in fact, Brian probably wanted to start this podcast, I would say, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 months probably before we actually started it. I can remember vividly in my mind, I'd be sitting at Second Cup here in Naples, up on their high top table, doing my own personal work, developing client programs, and Brian would text me and he'd be like, bro, we seriously need to think about doing a podcast. And I just think to myself, dude, enough with this podcast. You know?
This guy is crazy.
Yeah, and then here we are. We're on episode 24, and I really hope that for the people that are listening and watching that it is inspiring you and it's shedding some light on, you know, what it takes to go after what it is you want in life. And we're no experts by any means. I mean, we take a lot of content from other people that have, you know, really successfully mastered their craft, and I hope that it helps you guys.
Yeah, dude, and that's so funny. And honestly, like, if you guys watch the promo video from today, you will also see the transformation within Mike and I. The low energy, the just relaxed. Mike's sleeping during the whole first part of this thing, and it was just out of control. And we didn't know what we didn't know, I guess. But you're right. I never did a live video. I never did a podcast before. I've never gotten in front of like people before, really. And like in this capacity, talking about things they truly love, you know. And I think that was where it really like the light bulb went off. But it now is, we love this, don't we? I mean, seriously,
it's fun to just let loose and just, I mean, be honest. This is kind of like I said, an online live diary.
Yeah.
You don't need to read my diary because this is pretty much it. I'm being honest about everything, you know what I mean? So
it's become comfortable, and now when you watch Mike and I, and people have said it, we have good chemistry on camera. I mean, let's be honest. So I won't go into any perverted jokes about that. But anyway, all right, let's get to the new beginning here.
Jeez.
The new beginning.
All right, this is me. Number 8, the new beginning. Reborn into a known but better world. The heroes find themselves daily doing something more motivating. They have developed ways to use their new knowledge and courage to create lasting change, not only for themselves, but often for those around them too.
This is the podcast, right?
Exactly. Totally.
You know, and that's the reality of it. Like, Mike and I have been through a lot of these things already, and now to the new beginning, which is us really putting more effort into this podcast and getting more courage to you know, be more of ourselves. And even Mike and I talk about this all the time in our own content personally. We're like, sometimes we were too reserved or too like chill, like we weren't really fully ourselves at times, were we? Like, and I'll be really honest about that. Like, I remember creating some of my very first videos I posted online, and I look back at those and I'm like, that wasn't me. Like, that content's not me. Yeah. I'm like, I was trying to be so professional, and I'm not. Like, this is me. Like, you like me or don't. I don't care. Like, that is not going to change my path to success, brah. Like, you know, so what I think, you know, is so important is that new beginning is when you feel very courageous, you feel so in tune and self-aware of who you are, where you're going, and what you want, and then you pursue forward, and there's nothing in the way that can stop that, because you just love yourself and are so happy with that you're willing to give more to yourself and everybody else around you.
I love that. I love that. Now, I have written down, and I'll make mine kind of short, I have written down in my show notes, as an entrepreneur, you can't go back. It's a whole new way of thinking. It's a new beginning. Meaning, not necessarily just as an entrepreneur, but once you decide what it is you want to do with your life, that's a whole new beginning, and it almost mind blows you. Mm-hmm. It's a new beginning because you think so differently. You can't go back to the life of going through the motions and everything's so cookie cutter and it's status quo and you're accepting mediocrity. You go mind blown, and it's a whole new beginning and a whole new way of thinking when you decide to take that leap of faith. Like, you know, like for me, example, like it's hard for me to accept where I'm at right now, having to go back to things from the past, but being an entrepreneur, it does change. It's hard to explain your mind process when you're an entrepreneur to someone that just wants to go into a job every single day for the rest of their lives. Now, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But I'm saying once you decide what your new goal is, it is a whole new beginning, and it's your mindset is completely different.
Yeah.
You know?
It's the book, The Art of War, I think, where it's the army, you know, the soldiers, they got to the...
Here we go. Here we go with the soldiers again. Brace yourselves. If anyone's listening under the age of 14, please hit mute.
Well, the whole idea of it is they got to the island where they were going to fight, and they burned their boats. And it was like, it's either you fight and win or die. Like, no retreat. Like, this is
awesome.
it.
I like that.
And I think that's something that entrepreneurs do. Like, we burn the boats, man. And that scared the shit out of me.
Yep.
And that's just the reality of it. That's what they do, man. They just put it all out there.
That's a whole new beginning right there.
Yeah.
That's like Tom Hanks on Castaway. You build your boat, but you say, screw it. You push it out into the ocean, and then you're there.
Yep.
Figure it out.
You figure it out, man. So, anyway, all right, we're going to get into the challenge and the health tip. This was a deep episode.
Yeah, I'm pitting out right now. You done got so deep, you started making me sweat.
I'm sorry, man. I just feel like, wow, that just meant a lot to me, and I hope you guys really listen to it and go back and hear the hero's journey and embark on that yourselves, because it's so, so important. Like, you are your own hero. Be your own hero, and go and take on the journey that you are meant to do, why you are here. Like, please, no regrets, man. No regrets.
We can be heroes
just for one day. We can be heroes. Okay. Anyway, all right.
The challenge.
The challenge, ladies and gentlemen, and what I think is such a pivotal point in this whole thing was the mentor process. I've interviewed over 70 plus entrepreneurs, CEOs, very, very successful people. And one of the most constant things they all have said is they all have had mentors. Not one has told me they did not have a mentor. So the challenge is to find a mentor, whether it's a formal mentor, which the formal mentorship, and I think I've talked about this, maybe I've already done this challenge, but the formal mentor is you have somebody who you meet on a daily basis and talk to, or a weekly basis, monthly basis, whatever, and then the informal one. Go find your Walt Disney that is a mentor to me. Go find that person that is a visionary that you look up to. So go do that. Get in the health tip, Mike. Let's get healthy.
All right. My health tip I'm going to talk about, since everyone's setting New Year's resolution goals, how you would stick to them. Now, I've heard people play each side, like it's stupid to have New Year's resolution goals, and other people think it's great. Now, personally for me, coming from a personal training standpoint, I don't want to knock people that set New Year's resolution goals, because I do get it. You know, everyone's about the fresh start. They're about, you know, that new timeline. And I would rather see someone make an attempt and set goals and try to go after it than not do it at all. You know what I mean? I got to give people credit for making an attempt. You got to take a leap of faith, like what we talked about. Now, how to stick to them? You know, I've noticed that it's very hard for people to get through like the first 2 weeks, because especially with the weightlifting, as you know, you get super sore. Like you get so sore to the point where you can't even like sit down in the toilet because your butt cheeks hurt so bad and your thighs hurt so bad. Yeah, you start using the handicap toilet and you got to hold on to it. So I always tell people, try to get through those first like 2 weeks of initial soreness. You're not going to get as sore after that. There will be days you get super sore. There will be days that you don't get sore. Now, as far as your goals, I think it's okay to set, and I wrote a blog on this, I think it's okay to set very lofty goals. However, so I'm going to use this as an example of what I wrote in my newsletter. Let's say you want to lose 40 pounds. Okay, you say, I want to lose 40 pounds in 2017. Well, don't just think 40 pounds. Think, okay, now I'm going to take that lofty goal and I'm going to break it down into manageable chunks. And I'm going to say, out of the 4 quarters of the year, I'm going to try to drop 10 pounds. You know, so the first 3 months, 10 pounds. Second, 3, 6, 9, 12. That's 4 phases, 10 pounds a phase. That's 40 pounds. So it seems more manageable and easier to stick to rather than, you know, setting this huge lofty goal and then being like, dang, I only lost like, you know, 4 or 5 pounds. Well, that's actually pretty good if you're checking in with yourself every 2 to 3 weeks, you know. So I think that set a lofty goal. There's nothing wrong with that for aiming for the stars, and then break it down into manageable chunks. Be kind to yourself, okay? It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Okay, so like I said, building, you know, a better body, obtaining optimum health and wellness, it's not going to happen overnight. So don't get discouraged if you see fast results right off the bat, because going from doing nothing to doing something, you're going to see results. But then your body's going to start adapting. Things slow down a little bit. People hit a plateau and then they say, screw it. That's the time where you kick it into overdrive, you tighten up on your nutrition, you amp up the intensity in your workouts, and you blast through that plateau. Okay, so everyone has different tricks and different things, I think, on how to stick to New Year's resolution goals. But I think that you need to just, you know, maybe have an accountability partner. Like you have a weightlifting partner in the morning that you know is going to meet you there every single day, and if you don't show up, they'll be like, dude, seriously? They might inflict some guilt on you.
Yeah, right.
So, you know, having an accountability partner, whether it's a personal trainer that you're hiring or you have a friend that's going and working out, you know, make an awesome playlist on your headphones that you look forward to listening. One weird thing for me, too, is I buy like new workout clothes and new workout shoes because I love getting into the gym with some new kicks. Yeah. You know, like that motivates me and inspires me to stick to my plan. So those are a few little tricks that I've seen work. You guys will crush it in 2017. I know you will.
No, man, I really actually love that because I think so many people do set these lofty, crazy goals and then they expect to see these results right away, or if they do see results right away, maybe they don't see them for like, you know, anything after those like initial results, and people get down. It's like, just stick to it, guys, like, and do what Mike said, like, make it manageable for yourself, but please, like, don't give up. Like, don't. Like, you guys can do this. Like,
consistency over perfection.
Yes.
That's what I tell everyone. Okay, a good meal doesn't make you, and a bad meal doesn't break you. So if you have a terrible meal, it doesn't matter. You're only as good as your next meal, which is going to be healthy.
Yeah.
If you choose to do that. So then, if you're stringing out those healthy meals, out of 10 meals, let's say one of them's bad or 2 of them's bad, let's say 80 out of 80%, you just got a B. Keep that B going, and then you're going to pass. You're going to do really well, you know, like comparing it to school.
You're only as good as your next action. I really love that, you know. You are only as good. So this is the next, like 2017, guys, think about this. Like, it's a fresh start every day, you know. You have an opportunity every day to start over. Like, just make it happen, baby. So, all right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. We love you. Thank you, Facebook. Thank you, everybody who listens to this podcast. Please subscribe, rate, and review. Check us out on IG. Check us out on YouTube. Check us out on UnstoppablePursuit.com. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on everything. Just subscribe, rate, and review.
Instagram. Hit us up.
Subscribe, rate, and review on the podcast. That would mean the world to us. Thank you so much. We love you guys, and we'll check you all on episode 25, which will be the next episode.